bring in the audience. The questions of what defines success for Ukraine, what defines failure for Russia, what defines success for Europe, all big questions. We have some questions from the floor. We're going to begin here in the second row on the end, and then we're going to go 2 rows back, and then we'll go to the center.
Michel Fouché, I have a question for Norbert Röttgen.
Just please identify yourself quickly.
Michel Fouché. Let's assume that there is a ceasefire in Ukraine. Will the Bundestag accept to send German troops along with French, Polish, British, Italian troops as interposing forces to protect precisely what you said rightly, Ukrainian sovereignty, and to avoid a kind of Minsk III, a stupid agreement? I'm referring to what Hubert Védrine did with Joschka Fischer 20 years ago on Kosovo. Bundestag changed his view on Kosovo. So what do you think?
So it's a difficult question. I try nevertheless to be brief. I will be brief. The difference between Kosovo and the Russian-Ukrainian border is that the Russian-Ukrainian border as a land border and a sea border is more than 2,000 kilometers. So if we talk about a protective, whatever, European United Nations force, I'm not a military person, but I would think this requires a lot of troops, perhaps 100,000, not that far away from that. This would absorb our resources. We would be the play element for Putin to provoke, so we have to enforce this. So this only, for me, shows, it gives a hint of what the costs will be, probably, if you continue to insufficiently support and equip Ukraine. My conviction is that it's only Ukraine that is able to protect its borders. And for that purpose, for that European purpose, we should support the Ukrainians. If you continue to do this sufficiently, we will have to bear much higher costs, which probably overstretch us. So we should do everything to avoid that this question really enters the German Bundestag to be decided upon.
Védrine, a quick remark.
En quelques secondes. D'abord, la remarque de M. Röttgen est très juste. Mais j'ajoute une question. Est-ce qu'on peut imaginer qu'on envoie des troupes allemandes, françaises, anglaises, sans un vote des parlements? C'est pas évident. Constitutionnellement, j'en sais rien. Politiquement, c'est impossible. Donc il faudrait un vote clair dans le cadre d'un...
Very difficult to get consensus indeed. So, yes, the microphone there to the lady. Mm-hmm.
Yes, good morning. Daphne Benoit with the AFP, Agence France Presse. First of all, just a quick note, Mr. Jeremić, I greatly appreciated your very honest comments on the perspective of EU adhesion for Ukraine, because frankly, that's what I've been hearing behind closed doors from a lot of European diplomats. I would like to have your perspective, your opinion on the possibility of military aggression by Russia of the Baltic countries, because that would be the ultimate test for the Article 5. Do you think that's a possibility? Even like a quick incursion would be a huge test for NATO. Thank you.
Just a quick remark on that, because we are trying to focus on a couple of other things, but go ahead quickly if you like.
You're asking me if this is...
Yeah, that was directed towards you. It's the question about,
I don't have access to information as much as some other people do. I mean, Norbert's like a president of a committee in the German parliament. Is that possible or not?
It's a hypothetical, I think, on that question regarding whether Russia, if they were to invade the Balkans, even just briefly, what the consequences.
The Balkans? Balkans? I can assure you that they cannot invade the Balkans, but...
Baltic.
The Baltics.
Oh, the Baltics.
Les Baltics. Les Baltes.
Sorry. Yeah.
The Baltics are covered by the NATO guarantee, so there's no question about this.
If you go to the Baltic countries, it feels very different there. It must be said.
But
as you know.
if you allow me, there was a reference to Ukraine, and you mentioned NATO and the EU membership. There are two things which are really different. I have absolutely no doubt that Ukraine will at some point join the EU, but of course not in the next 5 years, and this is a point we've made clear to President Zelensky on the timeline of joining the European Union. But in my view, the best guarantee the European Union could offer to Ukraine is membership.
Okay,
But
thank you.
I must push back on that. 25 years ago, I was one of the founders of the resistance movement as a student that overthrew Milosevic in the year 2000. And I really did believe, after we overthrew Milosevic, that we were going to join the European Union. And that was 25 years ago. And now I'm not going to get into why and whose fault and was it possible, not possible, never mind. Was it history or doesn't matter. 25 years later, we're not in the European Union. And we are a less complicated place than Ukraine. So we're talking many decades. I think what you said, although I understand what you said because I'm a diplomat, so I understand diplomatic language, Ukrainian public reads what you say as, we are joining by the end of the decade. And that's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely,
let's,
but it's
let's
not
leave-
because the Ukrainian think this that it's going to happen. But at the same time, we still need to keep the option open.
Okay, this is a debate that's going to continue. We have one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up. We've got three hands in the air and no more time, so I'm not sure how to proceed. This was the first person I saw, along with the other two.
Stan Cosmo, Capgemini. One comment and one question. Comment is, I believe, based on Hubert's remark on reaching EU by steps, that one way to make Putin fail is to publicly say that Ukraine will, by step, like maybe Serbia and other countries, ultimately one day, without no date, of course, join the EU. Second question is about which countries do you believe are most likely to be ready to invest in military support to the ceasefire, which is likely to happen with Trump? Don't you think that geography plays a key role, such as Poland being very close to Baltic countries, Finland with 1,300 kilometers of border? Don't you think these countries will have a vested interest to make something?
Thank you. And one reply from the panel, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. Who would like to respond to that? Hubert Védrine.
J'ai pas la réponse, mais ça concerne des pays qui sont motivés politiquement et qui ont des moyens militaires. Il y en a pas 27. Hein. Donc ça concerne un petit nombre de pays. Après, ça dépend du cadre général qui va être créé par Trump. Et après, on tombe sur les remarques de M. Röttgen, très juste, sur le fait que ce sont des cibles toutes désignées. Si on est dans un cadre où Trump n'a pas réussi à dissuader suffisamment Poutine, s'il veut réattaquer, je ne vois pas pourquoi il attaquerait l'ensemble du système, alors que le système est maintenant mobilisé, réarmé, renforcé, et je ne peux pas le démontrer. S'il y a un Polonais, je ne peux pas lui démontrer qu'il n'y a pas d'attaque. Mais on retomberait dans la question de on appelle ça, c'est la chèvre au piquet. Je ne sais pas si ça se traduit bien. Si on envoie les 4-5 pays, envoie des troupes en Ukraine, c'est par là que l'attaque va recommencer, en fait. Pour tester la résistance, non pas de l'article 5, parce qu'on n'est pas dans l'article 5, mais la capacité politique dans chacun des pays concernés, 5 ou 6, à tenir bon. Vous voyez le piège. Donc, il faut trouver une solution.
I'm so sorry, we're way out of time, and I've gone over, and I must apologize to our next panel that I've taken more time than I should. But thank you to all. I'm very sorry we couldn't take any more questions. Thanks very much to our panelists. A warm round of applause.